Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. And if you guys have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you guys a lot. Today's video is super exciting, guys. I cannot be more excited. I'm not even exaggerating. I couldn't sleep after Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette came into talks. I think she gave a message across in Instagram on 18th, and I was like, oh my god, show us the swatches, because until and unless you see the swatches, it's so deceiving. The colors that are shown in the pans, I don't know how it's gonna look. And even the swatches that has been released is pretty dicey here and there, like for one or two colors, which I was debating, and I went back and forth for so many palettes. But I am so excited to share it with you guys. I think 19th is when Sephora came out with the swatches, and then Trend Mood came out with the swatches, and I went into business. I was like, I'm still drooling over the palette, because you guys know golds and bronzes and copper tones are my jam. You guys would be surprised how close these swatches are. But I'm just saying, if you guys have Jaclyn Hill first palette, and if you have Urban Decay's Born to Run, we have covered majority of the shades. So let's dive right into the video, guys. The first shade in Natasha Denona's palette is called True Copper, and this is like an exact dupe from Urban Decay Born to Run palette, and the shade name is Ignite. It is an orange copper, but it has a lot of warmth in it. She's gone with all over bronzes in her palette, and I personally think this is so complimentary on green eyes, brown eyes. It makes your eyes pop. The second shade in Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette is called Suntan, which is a warm tone brown, which is so close and such a dupe to Mocha in Jaclyn Hill's palette. I mean, guys, it's a warm tone brown, but you need that brown. If I'm using that Jaclyn Hill's palette, I cannot live without that Mocha color. It is so good to deepen up your outer corners. That all over the eyelid is also perfect. I love that color. The third shade in the Bronze Palette is called Sundown, and it's a warm nude shade, but this would be the base shade all over your eyelid. If you're starting with a bronze look or a copper look or a brown tone look, this is so necessary in the palette. And this is duped by Butter in Jaclyn Hill's palette. The same warm, a little orange, a little yellow in the shade. It's so close, guys. I mean, I'm gonna say close in every shade, but you guys can see for yourself how close it is. The fourth shade in Bronze Palette is called Deep Dive, and this is the deepest shade in the palette. When the swatches came, I thought it was a black, but it is not. When Natasha Denona did her live swatches, it's a deep brown with a slight black in it. When Trend Mood released her swatches, then I completely came to understand so this shade is a cool tone brown with a lot of burgundy purple in it. It's so good if you're using it with burgundy tones and copper tones, and that shade is duped by Soda Pop from Jaclyn Hill's palette. The next shade in Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette was a little tricky one, and it's called Rhodium. If you combine two shades from Urban Decay's Born to Run palette, you will get so similar shade, and those two shades are Drift and Guilt Trip. So this shade is a charcoal gray, but with a little bit of purple in it. It's such a dimensional shade to have in that palette, in the Bronze Palette. It's a little out of the box. It's one of the shades in the palette that would pop out, because it's not cohesive with the copper tones. That's my opinion. But with that Soda Pop shade that I was talking about, which is a dupe for Deep Dive, it will go so good together. The next shade in the Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette is called Magma, which is the deepest warm brown that you would find in that palette, and this is duped by Chip from Jaclyn Hill palette. It's a deep dark brown. That's exactly what I have in my outer corners, and you guys will also see a look on this eye look at the end of the video. I've used most of the shades that I'm talking about in this video on my eyes today, so that you can see a reality perception on how it performs on the eye too. The next shade in Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette is called High Degree, and this shade, guys, it's a firecracker, and that's exactly what it is. This has been duped by Jaclyn Hill's palette, and the shade name is called Firework. It's a deep copper with a lot of burgundy in it. It is such a good shade to pop on your eyes. That's exactly what you see like on the lid. It's such a cool copper to have in the palette. I love that color. The next shade is the one which was a little sketchy. I really did some work to find that shade out, and it is called Alloy. It's not in both of these palettes. I found that shade in Colourpop's Yes Please palette by combining two shades, and that was Louis and Chauffeur. Now when you see the live swatch, what Natasha Denona did, it's an orange gold. I think when I combine both of those shades from Yes Please palette from Colourpop, you get such a similar shade to Alloy. The next shade in the palette is called Ridge, and this is a warm tone camel brown in the palette, and this is duped by Pukey from Jaclyn Hill's palette. And you guys know I've used that multiple times in my channel. It is such a yummy yellow brown. If you're going for any warm tone look, it's such an essential shade to have. Recently I did a summer sunshine look, and this was like the star of the show. The next shade in the bronze palette is called True Bronze. Now guys, I don't know how much of a bronze it is, and I cannot guess, because all the swatches that were shown, one in Natasha Denona's website, second on Trend Mood swatches, third on Natasha Denona's live swatches, all of them came out a little different. I could see a little bit of bronze, I could see a little bit of green, and I could see a lot of gold. When I saw the Natasha Denona's live swatches, that's when I came to know that it is so close to Dwellers in Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette. I really thought when the swatches came on Sephora that it is a dead-on dupe from Jaclyn Hill's palette, and that shade name is called SBN, Smoky But Natural. I personally love that shade, and I was like, yes girl, that's such a good bronze. But more than a bronze, it seems like a gold when Natasha Denona's live swatches came into play. So I'm very torn between that. Either if it's that gold, then it is similar to Dwellers from Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette, or if it is that bronze that I'm seeing on Sephora's website or Natasha Denona's swatches, then it is very close to SBN in a Jaclyn Hill palette. The next shade in the bronze palette is called Gloaming, which is so similar to Hillster in Jaclyn Hill's palette. Now Hillster is a brown copper, and this would come in so handy if you're doing like a deep dark smoky eye but you want a copper to shine through, and Hillster and Gloaming is like a dead-on dupe, guys. The next shade in the bronze palette is called Palladium, and that's such a good dupe to mix in Jaclyn Hill's palette. It's a dirty bronze. I think that's the best way I can explain that color to you. If you're not going for that orangey bronze, and if you want like your lids to pop but without that warmth, it is such a great shade to have. For me, this is like the true bronze color. This is my go-to shade if I'm going for that bronze look. I don't know, man, it looks good on so many eye colors. And again, this is Meeks, which is duping Palladium in the palette. Now the next shade in Natasha Denona's bronze palette is called Bliss. It's a pink but with a gold shift to it, which is duped by Sissy in the Jaclyn Hill's palette. I think it's such a brilliant idea to include that into the palette because you get so much variety. I don't think anyone would like imagine a pink in like a bronze palette, but a pink with a gold shift would go so good with all those burgundy bronzy tones. I love that color. It's like a very romantic Valentine's Day white color. The next shade in the Natasha Denona bronze palette is called Silk, and this is such a beautiful gold. And as soon as I saw those live swatches, I was like, that's Queen. That is so close to Queen from Jaclyn Hill's palette. I mean, you've seen me apply Queen like so many times on my channel. That's exactly what I have on my inner third of my eye. I love that shade. It's not like over the top gold. It's a gold. There's a little tinge of copper in it, but it is such a beautiful shade to have. The last shade, but certainly not the least in the palette, is called Beach. This shade is what I would describe as like a neutral brown in the palette. It's like a pinky brown nude in the palette. I love that to put all over my eyelid, to put it on my crease even before starting the eye look. I love that color, and this is such close dupe from Puta from Jaclyn Hill's palette. You can see it in the swatches itself, guys, how much I love this color story. And you would have seen that on my face, like how excited was I to like share that with you. I know there was so many of you guys who were like DMing me, messaging me when you saw that bronze palette, and they were like, Smithy, am I gonna like spend so much money for the first time and get my first Natasha Denona palette? And I was in the same boat, guys. I was like, I think I am going to spend those money. But I was like, let me just see how many colors can I do. But if you have that Jaclyn Hill palette by itself, you are duping so many shades, guys. So I have always loved that Jaclyn Hill palette. But after seeing this, I'm like, yeah, I don't need it. I can get so many looks out of it, and much more actually. And I'm not saying that the formulas are a dupe. I'm pretty sure her formulas are magical that would transform any kind of eye look. But I think you can get such a similar color story if you have these two palettes with you. And those were my dupes for Natasha Denona's Bronze Palette that I created by using Jaclyn Hill Morphe Palette and Urban Decay's Born to Run Palette. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I had a blast creating and finding dupes for you guys. But if you guys are new here, please subscribe if you haven't already. And please ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time I'm posting next. I upload every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturday at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. If you guys have any other requests for the videos, please let me know. Without further ado, let's dive right into the tutorial of this eye look. First of all, I'm dusting translucent powder under my eyes so that if there's any fallout, I can catch it and it doesn't spoil my face makeup, as I've already done my face makeup. For my crease, I'm using butter from Jaclyn Hill Palette, and I'm dusting it all over my crease. And I'm blending it up to the brow bone. Next, I'm gonna take the shade Pukey from Jaclyn Hill Palette, and I'm dusting it all over my crease again, but I'm keeping it a little lower than butter. After that, I'm going to take the shade Mocha from the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm putting it on the outer corner of my eye and just deepening the outer corners. And then I'm going to take the shade Hillster from the palette and I'm going to put it in the outer third of my eye, just to blend that deeper brown with the shade that I'm going to put next. Now using any concealer, I'm going to cut my crease. And then I'm going to apply Hillster on top of it so that it can pop. For the next shade, I'm going to take Firework from the Jaclyn Hill palette and I'm going to put it all on the center of my eyelid. And then I'm going to take the shade Queen from Jaclyn Hill palette and pop it right in the inner third of my eye. And for the lower lash line, I've put Ignite from Urban Decay's Born to Run palette all on my lash line. I'm also using Chip on my lower lash line to deepen the outer corner of the eye. And on the outer corner of the eye, I have deepened it up with Chip from Jaclyn Hill's palette. I'm going to put some liner and lashes and then I'll just get back. And that's our final look, guys. I hope you really like it. If you like it, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you recreate this look, please do tag me in social media. For your convenience, everything is listed down in the description box below. But if you guys are new here, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time I'm posting next. I upload every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye!